to get onto the call. It's just fabulous. It's very convicting, though, I do have to say. You realize how far you really have to go when you dig into all this stuff. But, unless we're real with ourselves, we can never really get there, can we? So, I would recommend that you get on at 10 p.m. If you can't be on, if you're a, early to bed, early to rise kind of person, there is a replay. I am kind of doubting that a lot of you would actually go to the replay, but there's the replay number there. And as I send out the recordings, you see this. It's also on Facebook. I'm not sending this out every week, guys. You take a little bit of responsibility to log in the number, the replay number and the dial-in number, and you guys take the lead for yourself. But if you can't be on the call, I would highly recommend it. She's doing an exceptional job. Her heart's in this, and we all have a long way to go. Just as a reminder, Tuesday we start the lunch demo at Jasmine's. We're really excited about that. As again, thank you to Pat Charles for helping coordinate this with her friend who owns the restaurant, and we're really, really excited about it. It's invite time. We're definitely moving forward with that, and I'll tell you, there's a definite push. When you make a commitment like that. I remember when we first made the commitment for Monday nights, and I almost hyperventilated, like, oh my gosh, every Monday night, and now I'm feeling even more. But I have to kick myself in the tail and get going there. I got places I want to go, and I'm just not getting there. So I'm really going to enjoy this kick, this push, if you will. Again, it starts next Tuesday at noon, so excited about that. Here's the invite for that, and I only bring this up really to kind of as a preempt to what we're going to talk about here, and we're going to talk about inviting a little bit, but I'm taking my lead from other people for this lunch demo. It might be different at a dinner time demo. I don't know, but right now I'm focused on lunch demo, and this is what's working. I just designed it a little bit different than they're doing, but I'm following their lead. So when they go out to this lunch demo, it's all about the business, and so they just very casually are inviting people to lunch to hear more about the business. So keep this in mind. We do have postcards I shared on Monday night, and keep this in mind as we're talking about the scripting. Again, another reminder is the event coming up. I can't begin to tell you. I was talking to Terry on Monday night. It's really funny just to see how much is being stirred up out there. It's just amazing to me. There is a website for the event that's set up now, and it's livingwatersfarmevent.com. That gives a lot of helpful information if you guys have some input, you think things might need to be added. And just so you know, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to paint a picture of all the things that they can do when they're in town, because to be honest with you, 95% of people that have registered are not from anywhere near here at all. In fact, the closest would be North Carolina, Rocky Mount, North Carolina, and of course we know the farthest is California, Washington State, and things like that. But anyway, I'm trying to paint a picture of all the things. We really do live in an amazing area, and so I'm trying to let them know that there's a lot to do here. Why? Because I know that the couple of events I've gone to in Orlando, a big push and the big reason for their numbers was because there's a lot to do in Orlando, and so I'm trying to push that as well. You might want to check it out, livingwatersfarmevent.com. And keep pushing for that event as well, and we're so excited about it. And again, I just, whoops, I get real excited when I see what's going on out there, the excitement that other people feel, and it makes me excited. And a special announcement in case you didn't see the email, because of the push for Tuesday, there's a lot of push on my part, if you will, to fill that room up to finally, just propel my business forward. And so for the meantime, until further notice, there will not be a Monday midnight meeting. We're going to put that off. I'm not sure. We'll revisit it, if so, when. But in trade for that, what we're going to do is we're going to get together the first Friday of the month. First Friday of the month at 6:30, and at the farm here, it'll be like a potluck social. We're going to call it Fabulous Friday. Now that I will be prepared to do a demo if you guys want to bring a guest and just let them see what we're all about. We really do have an amazing group of people, and I have always been encouraged each time we've gathered together just kind of socially, and so I think this is a great time. No training, nothing like that. The only quote-unquote business that will be done is if you happen to bring somebody, I'll do like an impromptu kind of demo. I will be prepared for that, but no more Monday night meetings, no more pressure for that. I got a little feedback from my team because we're pushing the lunch demo so hard that, there's too many things that we have to try to fill the room for. So anyway, that's going to be on the back burner for now, maybe forever, I don't know. I hope you'll join us on the first Friday, which is May 6th, and again, it's at 6:30. You'll be getting another email about that. I'll be providing, just so you know, the main course, whatever that is. So it won't be cobbler, okay? I will provide the main course, and then I hope that we can somehow coordinate this. I'm not the best at that kind of thing, so maybe if somebody could help step up and coordinate. We certainly won't need everybody to bring food every time. You know, it's just, we just won't need that. And so let's maybe coordinate that. I'll let everybody know what the main dish is, and maybe you guys can help coordinate that. I'm really looking forward to it. May 6th, 6:30, and just feel free to bring whoever. I'd really kind of like to see if you have spouses, you know, if you bring them. I mean, we don't know a lot of these people. It'd be awesome to get to know you as a family, if you will. So anything like that, feel free. Somebody asked me about, can you bring kids? Well, yeah, kind of, sort. I mean, you know, it's not a party necessarily. It's a potluck social for our team, and we do want you to feel free to invite guests. But I really think that the focus should be more adult-like. So, and I'm a mom of 4, so I know what that feels like, unfortunately. But sometimes it's just more appropriate not to have the kids, unless they're older, you know, teenagers and that sort of thing. Little kids would definitely be the star of the show, and we wouldn't want to have that. So I hope you'll join us on Friday, May 6th at 6:30. I'm excited. You guys know I'm doing the scrolls. Some of you have actually followed through, and you're doing the scrolls with me. And I brought up an excerpt again. I'm on the 4th scroll, getting ready to go into the 5th scroll. And I brought this up because we're going to talk about, you know, inviting to events. And so often, it's kind of interesting to me in this business. I never ran into this before, where people just kind of want, you know, give me the words, give me the words, give me the script, give me this, give me that. You know, and we're going to talk a lot about that today, but really we're going to talk about why the words don't come, and where we are in terms of inviting people. So just so you can read along with me, but I love this. It says, none can duplicate my brush strokes. None can duplicate my chisel marks. None can duplicate my handwriting. None can produce my child. And in truth, none has the ability to sell exactly as I. Henceforth, I will capitalize on this difference, for it is an asset to be promoted to the fullest. I am nature's greatest miracle. Vain attempts to imitate others no longer will I make. Instead, I will place my uniqueness on display in the marketplace. I will proclaim it, yea, I will sell it. I will begin now to accent my differences, hide my similarities, so too will I apply this principle to the goods I sell. Salesmen and goods, different from all others and proud of the differences. And so, you know, I think this was so awesome as I was preparing to open this up today to talk about, you know, how we invite people and what we do and what we say, because we do need a foundation for that. I know I was absolutely needed a foundation because I've never sold a product before in my life. I've never been in this industry before, so I definitely need some guidelines, if you will. But the bottom line is we're not scripted telemarketers. We're individuals, and we're in the people business. And so whatever we share today, you know, yeah, you want to practice. I've talked about how in the auction business, you know, go through over and over and over the numbers, forward, backward, sideways, so that I never really had to worry about what I was saying in terms of the numbers, and I could focus in on the audience more. And we do need to get to that point. But rest assured, you know, you are uniquely made, and you can work this business by being you. You just need to put the tools together and understand the direction to go in, but you don't need to just, you know, see people so knotted up sometimes, and just, I think they just want to be like, you know, be a Tamia. Well, you're not Tamia, and I'm not Tamia. You know, you're you, and you're great the way you are. It's just a matter of getting the guidelines, the principles, if you will, that we need to put in place for our success and make them personal to you. So if you're not reading the scrolls, I'll tell you, you're missing nuggets every day. I just love this, and I hope you'll do it. But step number one, you know, with any of these events, we have seen them come and go in our team and our company. And I have to tell you, you know, I speak, I think, for the entire team when I say we ain't getting it right, okay? There's something that has bottlenecked us from bringing guests and filling rooms the way we're supposed to. And that, I'm talking to myself too, okay? I'm so eager to get this thing working, it's not even funny, but something is in the way. You know, we see people across the country, not necessarily superstars, but people that have the ability to get people excited, you know, and they fill a room or they bring guests every week. The closest I have seen to this for our group, if you will, is Marilyn Rotier. You know, when she's on board and she wants to bring people in an hour and a half from Maryland. She fills that car up and she gets them here. And yet the people, 10 minutes from my house can't seem to get people in the room. So it's not distance. It's not that it's a farm. It's not that it's been Monday night. It's not that it's whatever. That all those things are just excuses, because it's proven to work for those people that work it. And so the first thing that I can see is that I know that we have to be excited. Let me tell you something. If you try to invite me to a party or something and you're not excited, you ain't getting me excited about it. I'm not going. And yet I've had people, this just recently happened where there was an event, a Christian event this past weekend, and somebody was telling me about it. They talked for 15 minutes about all the reasons I needed to be at that event, or I was going to miss it, or this person was so wonderful. The excitement in them came out of their pores. And yet when we come to something that we either believe in what we have or we don't, we have come to something that is so profound and has the ability to change lives, and yet I guess we're humdrum about it. So the step number one is we have to be excited. If you're not excited, then you need to get down to basics and figure out what the problem is. It may be that you're not excited about the business. It may be that you just got some growing to do. I don't know. But if the first step is we have to be excited. If we're not excited, they're not going to be excited. Second thing is we have to be vested. We have to be committed to whatever that is. We have to be on board. So in this example that we're talking right around the corner for my team, it's that luncheon. I've already heard a million excuses. I've heard people don't want to come, people don't take time for lunch, business people are busy people. I've already heard it all. But you know what? That's not true for everybody else that's making this work. So we have to be vested ourselves. We have to believe that what we have is good. We have to be excited as we invite them. We have to be on board and committed. We have to be willing to do those things. I've seen that kind of action, that type of demeanor, if you will, in action over many, many things with many, many people on our team. But do we do that when it comes to an event or it comes to filling that room? Because guys, without people, we're in a numbers business. The more people we reach, the more success we're going to have. We don't have the luxury of doing what we've been doing week after week, having demos or opportunities for demo and have nobody there. We don't have that luxury if we want to succeed. Now, if this is just a social thing, then let's call it what it is. But if we want to succeed, we have to take action. If we want to succeed, we've got to be excited. We've got to be vested in that event. Another good example of that would be, for instance, on the event coming up, the Living Waters event coming up. I don't care who you are, how you are, what you think you are, but if you're not vested, if I don't, like the person I was telling you trying to get me to, or trying to inspire my interest in this event last weekend, they were vested. I wasn't vested, okay? I hadn't bought a ticket. I wasn't vested to go, but they were. They were vested, they were going, they were committed, and they wanted to get me excited too. And so if you're not vested, you're not going to be promoting anything. If you're not in it yourself, if you're not on board yourself, it's not going past you. I don't care what you say. That's just human nature. That's not Lynn's law. That's just the way we roll. So if we're not vested, if we're not on board, it's not going to happen. And if it doesn't happen within our own hearts, it can't happen to the people that we're inviting. So step number two is, again, we have to frame the invite for the audience, and we have to make it unique to us, if you will. But we have to consider that if you were going to take somebody just to a straight demo, a health seminar, if you will, then of course you need to be framing your invite to the people that would be interested in hearing more about how to have better health. If you're inviting to a business, that the lunch demo is absolutely a lead out with the business. It's talking about, let me show you my business, let me show you my business, and P.S., let me show you why I'm excited. The secondary thing is a demo. So we'd have to be careful that we're not talking about water, we're not talking about health. We're talking about business, so we have to be framing the invite for the audience. And, that's always true, by the way. Even when we're out, trying to prospect, if you will, we have to understand what's the platform here before we can figure out, what do I talk to with this person about? Am I talking about health? Am I talking about money? What am I talking to them about? So we have to do the same thing when we look at each particular event, whether it's a Thursday night dinner in Vienna or a Tuesday lunch in Leesburg. It really doesn't matter. We have to figure out, what does that look like? And how do I frame my invite to that audience? There is no canned invite again, okay? I mean, I know what it felt like. I kept saying, well, what do I say and what do I do when I first got in the business? There's no such thing as a canned invite. You know why? Because every single person you deal with is different. And so we have to be understand that that's an individual, a personal thing, and we have to be able to modify or to frame that invite or frame that presentation, whatever it is, to match the audience, you know? So there's nothing canned. You can't just go out there and get your smartphone out and say, oh, this is pitch number 3. You've got to just embrace it in your own heart and your own mind and learn to figure out how to frame those things. So there are suggestions that we can have to follow. We're going to talk about that in just a second here, you know, some ways that we can follow it, but it really starts with being excited. That's what it really starts. If you're not excited, there ain't going to be anybody there. I mean, if you can't excite you, you're not going to excite anybody else. We all know some simple things, you know, where we know in sales not to open or not ask an open-ended question, you know, a yes, no kind of question. And it's so funny because I've heard people say, well, if you're not busy on Monday night, what are you talking about? That's not exciting, you know, because we should be so excited that we say, stop everything you're doing. You got to be there Monday night. Oh, well, oh, yeah, there's always next week. You can't ever leave it out there that there's always another opportunity, because human nature is it's going to keep taking every you know, excuse that it can, as long as you frame it that way. I remember last year or global being on one of the calls, and I remember hearing about this young guy. You know, he's probably, I don't know, maybe pushing 30 now, but you know, he was getting buses to take people to global. 2 buses filled with people. Why? Because he's special? No, it's not because he's special, because he's mastered getting people excited about what he has. And I don't know why we're having such difficulty with that, but I know that we're on the verge of a breakthrough, and I know if we can accept the fact that we haven't been doing it right, that we can somehow frame this and somehow push past this so that we can get a lot of people to everything that we've got going on. So I'm going to just start getting ready to unmute or you're unmuted, excuse me, get ready to start raising your hands because I want some input here, but I want to just comment on some things about the lunch invite, just in general, guys. It could be good for your dinner demos or anything like that. So it's, you know, it's not unique to this lunch, I guess is what I'm saying. What I'm hearing about from the people that are mentoring me on this is that it's a very simple thing. For instance, the people I've invited, I have 5 people saying they're coming so far. Obviously, I need to get back with them and I need to remind them. And one of the things that you really emphasize in this kind of situation is, you know, for instance, when I call back to confirm, hey, I'm excited about seeing you on Tuesday, you know, I've already paid for your lunch, you let them know that you're making a commitment to them. That lunch thing or that meal thing that you're offering is the big dangling carrot, okay? We were laughing, a couple of us on the phone this week, about how, you know, open houses in the real estate business, you know, it's usually on Tuesdays. It might have changed now. I don't know. I've been out of it. But, you know, it used to be on Tuesdays. You'd have all these flyers, and you'd sit down at your sales meeting, and you had all these open house flyers in front of you, and you would pick the open house that you went to, not based on buyers that you were working with, but based on the menu. Agents get out to open houses to eat the food, okay? They don't get out there to buy or sell the houses. That's just human nature. So if we frame this in a way that we want them to be our guests. So again, what I'm saying is a little bit different from me because, you know, I'll be actually the one doing the presenting, but, you know, what I'm saying to the people is, you know what, I've been meaning to talk to you about my business forever. I really would like your input. I mean, I really would. I think that being in business is all about networking and understanding each other and what each other has to offer. So I'd like you to come be my guest on Tuesday and share with you what I have and hear a little bit more about how you're doing. What in the world? Why would anybody say no to that? So if I don't get that room full, it's really because I'm getting out there and inviting people. And so in this situation, when we're dealing with the demos, excuse me, lunch or dinner demos, it really is all about, I'd like you to be my guest. For those of you that are inviting to the lunch demo, you might say, you know, I've been meaning to get together with you forever. I am so excited about my business, and I'm so excited that we have somebody that can present. It's only going to be an hour long. It's free lunch. I've purchased your lunch, and I want you to be my guest. Just come at it so excited that you want them to be your guest, and let them know it's only going to be about an hour. It's, you know, it's usually an hour and 10, 15. We might be a little bit like that this time, but I'm going to hope to get it within an hour. If I'm presenting the business and just barely touching the demo, we should be able to do that. So anyway, That's my 2 cents so far. I see Jack's hand up. Jack, did you want to say something about how we invite and what we're doing here?
Yeah, can you hear me, Lynn?
I can, Jack. Thank you.
Good. Lynn, thank you so much for putting on the call this morning.
You're welcome.
I just wanted to speak to the whole aspect of marketing to events. I think you highlighted the point that we've all done a very poor job at marketing to events.
Mm-hmm.
And if, we really need to have a change in all of our attitudes and the way we do things. And, people might say, well, we don't have an event in our area. Well, make an event. Do something. And so, those that do have events, if we can start focusing on how we can market to events. So I'm sitting down right now. I've been working this morning on a plan on how to market to your event coming up in October. And I'm going to put in a lot of effort in that. So, I'm excited about that. The other thing I'm excited about, I think you guys have heard me speak about my trip to South Africa. Anyway, I had 5 potential sales, and I wanted to try and set up somebody that would look after South Africa. And this morning I got an email from France saying that my sister has been approved and the finances are through. She's got a distributor number and the machine is on the way. And so I'm now this morning working on 5 other sales that were just waiting for that distributor number to go through. So a lot of people might say, well, we're working in a small town, there's not much business, we don't do much business. Well, right now, I would say that 70 to 80% of my inquiries that I'm working on right now are not in this country, they're all in Africa. I mean, it sounds weird, but that's what's happening. So there are opportunities everywhere. It's just a matter of, are we putting in the time? And are we treating this business as a job? I mean, for example, I think you've always highlighted the fact, if you've got a job and you start work at 9 o'clock, well, you go, or 8 o'clock, you have to be there. And, you can't start working at 2 o'clock in the afternoon and finish at 3 type of thing. So we have to put in the effort. So anyway, Lynn, thank you for you putting all the effort. I know you've put in hundreds, if not thousands of hours over the last few years, and sort of getting us all going. And thank you so much for all that you do.
Oh, you're welcome, Jack. It's my pleasure. And you bring up some good points on the fact it's so inspiring when we hear stories like that. Jack is one that I don't know, Jack. It's like Jack gets in gear and you start shaking your head and say, what in the world? I mean, he just can make things happen when he's in gear. And he brings up a good point because, so much of what we hear is complete and total excuse. It's based on fear, and it's lies we tell ourselves, because again, if we talk about just like a local meeting, if you will, let's use Monday night, you see Marilyn Rotier schlep an hour and a half over here. We've seen people come from Hagerstown over here. We've seen them come when they're ready to come. So that's all just an excuse. I often hear Jim Gilliland, he's one of our great leaders, talk about he's in Podunk. He's not in a big city. People say, oh, we live in a small town. That's an excuse. The world is our territory. And I do want to say something, Jack. You're talking about promoting that event. Thank you. By the way, it's our event. It's just here. I'm just a willing servant, okay? I'm not owning this stuff. And without Terry, I hope he's on the call today. Without him, forget about it. I can't come up with all these details, but it's going to be a magnificent event. I mean, it's going to be magnificent, and it's awesome to me. What I'm hearing from when Tamia saw the lineup, before she had committed, she goes, "Girl, what do you do to get these people there?" Leaders are commenting across the country saying, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe that lineup." The people, we are so blessed to have the people coming here. It's unbelievable. And it's going to be the event that they're going to be chattering about for a long time. So one of the best things about this event, by the way, it's not really geared toward guests. I'm not saying you can't bring guests, but it's not the typical Super Saturday, have a demo Friday night and hope you have a guest there on Saturday. This is about revving us all up. This is about celebrating what we have and propelling us to the next level, And we were talking on Monday night before the meeting about how cool it's going to be. If you go to Global, for instance, I'm not saying anything bad about Global. I'm very excited. But when you go to Global, you're very limited in terms of how many really personal conversations can you have, even when you go to the banquet, because you're placed at a table or you sit at a table with, 9 other people, and it's pretty crazy in there, so you really can't socialize. But this whole venue lends itself to a lot of one-on-one. You're going to be rubbing elbows with all the leaders and get to know them personally. It's amazing. So please, if you have that in your mind, and not you, Jack, but anybody on the call, that this is Lynn's party and you don't have to worry about it, you are grossly mistaken. Please just consider this your event. Get excited about it. Go and look at the website and look at how it's being marketed. Just sit there for a second and think about how difficult it is for us to get people from 2 seconds away to show up at a meeting, and yet for this event, they've already registered from California, Washington State, Oklahoma, Indiana, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Florida. That's mind-boggling. So please don't use excuses. So I see 2 hands up. I see Mike and Bev, and I'm going to let ladies go first. Mike, bear with me just a second, and then Bev's hands up, and so okay, Bev, you're on. Maybe she's on. Bev, are you?
Hey, Lynn and everyone. Yes, can you hear me?
We can, thank you.
Can you hear me, Lynn?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, I was just going to comment, but you kind of covered it all pretty well about the lineup that you had for your event. Talking about getting excited, I don't think you could get a too much better lineup than you have there, and I'm very excited about coming and planning on spending a couple weeks up there working with you and prospects that we may have, after the event.
Well, that's awesome. Thanks, Bev, for your input. And yeah, even my friend Bev said my event. It's not my event. It's just at the farm. It's so, but yeah, that lineup, and that doesn't even, include an absolute set in stone. Mr. Oshiro is going to be here. So can you even imagine, that we have these people coming to this farm in Virginia? Well, God is good. He's always good, and from the very first Super Saturday, he just blessed us. We got, it was crazy, and he's never quit blessing these events. I've just scratched my head and say that, but it's also about marketing. You guys know I am marketing it, and it's up full speed ahead now. And it's just so exciting because that's something that I'm gifted at. I like that. I like getting out there and just painting a picture and inspiring people. So anyway, enough of that. Mike, you're on, my friend.
Thanks, Lynn. Yeah, I just wanted to say congratulations to Jack for his efforts in South Africa, and that just reminds us all that this is a global business, and there's opportunities that present themselves all the time. So we need to be queued up to take advantage of those when they appear. And we have global support. There's meetings going on everywhere, all the time, and we've got strong business partners in a lot of areas that we can get some help with people in those areas.
We do.
Whether it's Florida or Washington State or Las Vegas or wherever.
Right.
So don't forget about those.
No, I think that's right.
One of the big advantages of our October events that's going to be here in Virginia is that you'll have a chance to connect with people from all over, so that you feel comfortable, having them help you out and helping them out when you have prospects in different areas. So it's always good to make those type actions because down the road they're going to be invaluable.
Well, you're so right. I was thinking about it. And by the way, while I'm rattling off, I know there are people on the line that are having trouble framing the invite. So I expect you to come on board and ask some questions. This isn't about just talking like this. So if you do, you raise your hand. We're going to open it up. But I was thinking about how we did have the first Super Saturday, and I was blown away because I've confessed this to you guys that in my other life, I was paid very well to go speak, okay? I was so humbled when we had people show up here that, on their own nickel, their own everything, just to serve us. It really was a big change of my own heart when I saw that, because I'm used to a world where I got paid really well to do that. And so how cool is that? But, you know, since then, because of my changed heart, you guys aren't, you know, maybe even aware of a lot of things that I do to serve those very people. You know, for instance, when Omar stepped up and asked me to do the call, I'm not, yeah, I gain from doing that call. I get exposure. That's great. But you know what? There's hardly anything Omar could ask me to do to help him that I wouldn't do because of his heart to come here and to serve us when he had no gain in that. And now he's coming back. You know, one of the things inspiring him to come back, it wasn't to speak, by the way. I found out he was planning to attend anyway because he has team members from California coming in and team members from North Carolina coming up. And so I naturally took advantage of him coming into town. You don't see things like a couple of events with Tamia where they needed some push, some marketing help, some flyers made, things like that where I'm out there serving. The point I'm trying to make is I'm agreeing with Mike. You know, when you get an opportunity where you can get to know these people, you know, there's confidence that builds in you, and you realize that, you know, you can pick the phone up. I can pick the phone up and call Omar or Tamia or Romy or any of these people. I can call them because there's a relationship building. And so this, I think that's one of the best things about the October event is it's just a chance. You can fly home. You don't need to drive or walk home because it's just going to be so amazing, so rich, you know, with that. So, you know, that the push for that event is to get people. You got people that are idle, people that aren't moving, people that need to wake up, people that need to get excited. You need to get them to this event. You know, that's the bottom line. It's really, I'm not saying there aren't any guests, but there's not going to be any demo. There's not going to be any part of this event that's really geared toward first timer, first somebody that's considering getting in the business. So the rest is up to you. So anyway, I'm waiting for, I see Terry's hand raised. There you go, my friend, you're live.
Good morning, Lynn. Can you hear me okay?
We can a little bit, speak up a little bit, but we can hear you. Yes, good morning, Terry.
Good morning. Well, I'm excited about October. It's going to be the event of the year. I can guarantee that.
Yeah.
And just one thing, when you're inviting folks to these luncheons and any events we have, just remember, be yourself.
Right.
Don't try to be someone you're not. Just be yourself, and I think it'll work for you.
I think that's great, Terry. And I just, again, if people have never put anything together like this, I mean, my extent has been planning weddings for my kids, you know, out here at the farm. But the detail is just unbelievable. And I think you heard me say the first time when Tamia challenged me, Jack sticks me on the phone with Tamia, and I made the mistake of whining about having no events, and that's when she said, "Step up, girl," and we had the first event, you know. But I mean, my heart was in my throat when I said, okay, because I'm not gifted at that stuff. I'm like a visionary. I'm an outside the box thinker. It's very difficult to hone me in on the details. And so without Terry, forget about it. So I am so grateful to Terry for not just being willing. I mean, I didn't even ask him. He stepped up and volunteered, and we all know that he works with excellence. So really, when that day comes, we can thank God for good weather, and we can thank Terry for all of his efforts that go in to make us all shine. So thank you for that, Terry. And yeah, you're right. With the inviting, it does come down to, I think that's one of the things I was trying to say, is people look for an excuse like, what's the script? What do I say? Well, you know, again, you have to frame it. You have to be sure that you're inviting for the right reasons, but you have to be yourself no matter what kind of script or 2 cents or anything that you get. But I really would like some feedback on what's not working or what is working, because again, this is team-wide. We're all having trouble with this, you know, and I'm hoping beyond hope that the lunch demos are that kick in the tail. You know, again, I was kind of shaking my finger at somebody here on Monday night saying, what are you talking about? You get people to go to lunch all the time. You get people to sit down and have a cup of coffee all the time. Just frame it for this meeting. You know, the key is that you want to just, it's an hour long, I want to buy you lunch, I want you to take a look at what I've got, and I want you to give me your thoughts. I've been wanting your input forever. This is a great opportunity. Let me buy you lunch and get your input. Anybody that's in business, anybody with a Toastmasters, anybody with a BNI, anybody with the Chamber of Commerce, any of those people like networking, okay? They're going to like to meet new people. Realtors always look for a venue to be able to pass out a card. So they're looking at this as business, and that's the way you need to look at it too, that this is a chance to show your business to somebody who does business, get their 2 cents, and I'll do a good job, okay? I will do a great presentation for them, and we'll take it from there. So he's right, though. You've got to be yourself. You just can't go out like some, wind-up toy. So who has, anything out there that they want to say? I know I've got people here that have been saying they want to learn more, they want to say more, they want to do this, but I'm not seeing their hands raised. Anybody else before we close out the call? Because you can hear from me forever. I really wanted some interaction on what questions you might have, what challenges you might be having, and let's talk through it together as a team. Anybody? Pat Cassidy, you're up, my friend.
Hey, Lynn, good morning to you.
Wait a minute, we can't hear you, Pat.
Can you hear me now?
Just barely.
Okay. Well, there's something going on here what about now?
It's a little bit better. Just talk up loud and we'll do our best.
Okay. First of all, what you said about excitement is so critically important. And one thing that I know that doesn't work very well is if you send out just some invitations, either email or text mail through text, you've got to follow up with the people that you send those to. And that's where the excitement comes in, because you can't really create excitement through a text or through an email. And for some people, they would like to do business that way, but you really can't do it. It's a series of things. There's emails that work, there's text messages that work a little bit, but it's got to be at some point in time, you got to pick up that phone and you got to talk to people, and that's where the excitement comes through. That's where the instant feedback comes through, and then you find a way to get people to go to a luncheon with you where you have more excitement. And truly, when you go to a luncheon like you're going to have next Tuesday, you've got the excitement of other people being there. You've got the excitement of the presentation. It kind of builds on things. You have a lot of different people there and team members to back you up. So I can see some wonderful things happening, through your luncheon meeting. And Lynn, again, can you hear me okay now?
We can, thank you.
Okay. And the other thing, too, is that we have a dinner meeting this Thursday that Mike and I and Hunter are putting on, and that's down in the Vienna area. It's a really nice Persian restaurant, and we're going to be doing a product business presentation, kind of a combination of the two, this Thursday evening. Now, one thing, people have heard about Dr. Batman Johnny, his book about, your body's cries for water.
Right.
Well, we have Dr. Saba, who actually knew Dr. Batman Johnny well, even when Batman Johnny was in prison in Iran. So a very, very good friend of his, and we're going to give him a few minutes speaking. So we're going to have a little bit of excitement there. So for people that are on the call, if they're freed up, or even if they're not freed up, if they can make themselves freed up on Thursday evening and bring somebody down with them, it'll be a evening that's worthwhile for them. But one thing, take advantage of these different events that are on even locally here. We know we have a global business, and we do have business partners in a lot of areas, but let's take advantage of some of the local stuff that we're doing and really make it sing. And Lynn, I compliment you for your ongoing luncheon, because I think that's going to work out extremely well for you. A lot of good ingredients there. And I would encourage people to, if they haven't done it already, especially for new people, to find out who your senior partners are. Find out who is in your group that you can kind of lean on to help you, to kind of show you the way. And in this type of business, I kind of relate it to a football game. So you go to a football game, and there's two different kinds of people there. You have the players on the field, and then you have the fans that are watching the game. And it takes two different types of skills, two different types of learning processes, and two different types of commitments to be one or the other. And for us on the call, we're the players. So that means we've got to go to practice, we've got to take the hits, we've got to put forth the energy to make that game happen. I mean, it's a wonderful thing for the fans to show up and talk about, you know, the Redskins or whatever it is. But we're the players, and we have got to connect. We've got to go to practice, and we've got to put forth the effort to make it work. And we've got to get better every single day. So with that, Lynn, I'm going to hand it back to you.
Well, that's great input, and you're so right, Pat. We have so much to take advantage of, and that's been, you know, for me, I confess it almost all the time. It's a source of frustration for me because I'm unplugged in, and I don't say this to rub anybody's nose. I say because I don't have a life, okay, and I'm excited about what I do, so I'm very, very plugged in. And you know, I hear what's going on out there, and I hear what's not going on out there, and I just say, gosh, why doesn't our whole group understand what they have? I mean, we have so much more going on than a lot of people do, and yet we look for excuses. Well, there's not one here. There's not one on this night. That's not a good night. That's not a good day. That's not a good whatever. You know, it's just amazing to me, and it's a source of my frustration. So I appreciate what you're saying. But still, you know, the foundation of that is with all that going on, if we don't ever have people there, if you don't ever got anybody live to the football game, they ain't going to see the game. And you know what? There's nothing that compares to being there live. You can, you know, to have them, you know, record a game, TiVo game, and watch it later or whatever. It ain't the same, okay? And so we need to figure out how to get people excited to that game. I really think it starts with us, whether we're committed and we're excited. You know, again, we wouldn't say, you know, for instance, I remember back in the day, people would say, oh gosh, you know, we should do auctions Monday through Friday or whatever. If it was no longer a novelty, who's going to ever go to them, you know? And that's what we have to treat each event. It doesn't matter that it's every Tuesday, you know, it doesn't matter. I put the pressure on myself, ouch, but it doesn't matter that it's every Tuesday. You don't tell them it's every Tuesday. And I know that people have done that with Monday nights because I've heard it over, and don't worry, next Monday, don't worry, next Monday, don't worry. You got to treat it like it's the event of a lifetime. You know, a lot of this we get from Tamia. You guys remember hearing her talk about inviting to their meetings, you know. She takes it a step above, you know, and has somebody call on her behalf kind of thing. But the bottom line is when they call, they say, man, you know, we packed out here. We have reserved your seat. We've printed your materials. And I just want to reconfirm because people are waiting. You know, are you going to be there or not? Urgency, urgency, urgency. If they have the luxury of time, you're never going to get them there. And if you don't get them there, well, you're never going to succeed. We've got to figure this out. And so we've got to create that urgency. You don't say we have a luncheon every Tuesday. Each week as you go to invite those people, you need to treat it as if it's a unique event. It's a great opportunity. I've been waiting for this. I've been wanting to show you my business. Let me buy you lunch. You know, and going back to what was said about, you know, sending out emails, I mean, we can do that till the cows come home, but I'm going to tell you something. If you're my friend or you're a realtor from my past, don't you just send me an email invite. Pick that phone up and call me. I'm never going to go. I don't feel any, what are you talking about? Nobody's going to believe that it's a unique situation, that you're buying their lunch if all you do is send out an email. Come on, you've got to treat it as if you seriously want their input or you seriously want to share the business. You've got to treat it like that. And, you know, for some of you, maybe you're pushing back on buying them lunch. Well, sorry, that's the way business rolls. It costs money to get leads. It costs money. It's tax deductible. It's $10. You know, figure it out. But, you know, it costs money to do business. And maybe if you can't afford to bring people every week or whatever. But I look at this lady in Texas that, you know, every single week, she has 10 to 20 people show up with her. She never talks about the water. It's always, I want to show you what I'm up to these days. Let me buy you dinner. I want to show you what I've been doing. I want to show you about my new business. I want to just buy you lunch. She makes it sound like, wow, that's the luckiest thing in the world that she wants to share with them and buy them lunch. And the bottom line is, you know, she's closing more than 50% of everybody that shows up. So let me tell you something. It does work if we work it. But through the entire team, starting with Monday nights to events, to the dinners in Herndon and now in Vienna, to the lunches in Leesburg, we haven't been doing it. Okay, so is there any more dialogue out there about what's not working? Do you have any questions about what you might say or whatever? I see Mike's hand up. Mike, go ahead.
Yeah, Lynn. Well, you mentioned about the $10 or $15 or whatever, you know, people pushing back on that. But if you do the math, we know that 90+% percent of the people that go to a meeting like this end up buying a unit.
Right.
So even if you're only at 1 point, you know, is it worth trading, you know, 10 bucks for 285? You know, I'll stand on the street corner all day, you know, doing deals like that. So, you know, it is a cost of doing business.
No,
but the point I wanted to make was that you know, you do need to give people special attention if you're inviting them to lunch. You know, if you were just inviting a friend out to lunch, you wouldn't, you know, send them some, you know, email blast or whatever. You need to actually, you know, build some excitement and build some value for it. And these are events that change people's lives, and we need to present them like that.
Yeah, we do.
So, you know, there's still time to invite people to the tomorrow night meeting in Vienna. You know, we haven't had meetings in Vienna for a long time. There's nobody having meetings down there. All of us know somebody down in that area.
Right.
So, you know, get on the phone today and see what you can drum up. It's shaping up to be a good, strong meeting. You know, we'll probably have close to 25, 30 people there.
That's awesome.
So let's you know, let's get somebody on board, buy them lunch, and let the group dynamics help you close the deal.
No, I think you're absolutely right, and you bring up a good point because you know, I did a postcard. Just again, I'm just duplicating what's working. Okay, so I did a postcard for the luncheon, and there were comments about, well, it's pretty late to be getting these. Well, we're not doing a direct mail piece. It's a courtesy handout postcard. But the bottom line is, when you typically, if you call a friend or you know, talk to a realtor, you talk to somebody you've done business with, you call somebody from your BNI group or whatever, you don't need a lot of advance notice to say, you know, I'd like to take you out to lunch on Tuesday. You don't need, in fact, having more time is worse. You know, in our auction business, I would say, you know, we spent a tremendous amount of money marketing because we took a whole lot of effort into a very short period of time. And we knew that we only had 2 to 3 weeks to sell no matter multi-million-dollar asset. All we really had was 2 to 3 weeks. We condensed it. You know, the more time is not better. It's urgency, urgency, urgency. We've got to create that you can't miss this, I want to buy you lunch thing. We can't miss that. And I got to tell you, I did make this comment, and I probably wasn't very kind when I said it, but it's true. If we can't figure out, every single person in our group can't figure out a way to get a couple of guests to a free lunch, we're in the wrong business. That's ridiculous, because we do it all the time. Let me buy you coffee, let me buy you lunch, whatever. We do it all the time. So if we can't figure out how to do it, then seriously, and I'm not saying that to be a smart aleck, we're in the wrong business. And so we've got to figure that out. You know, I remember when I was first hearing this lady getting 10 to 20 people every single week. I'm like, oh my gosh. And I think I want to say theirs is like $12 a head or something like that. But, you know, I'm like choking up thinking, oh my gosh. But, you know, when you look at the sales she made, I mean, she's climbing so fast, and the only thing she does is get people to that event. You know, they're a little bit more privileged there. You know, they got 3 different teams, none of them on the same team, that do these events, you know, a couple times a week, you know. So she doesn't have, it's effortless for her is what I'm saying. All she has to do is get people in the room. You know, you guys don't have to set up. You don't have to do anything. You go back to money. I told you guys, I was talking about doing tax season, not this year, but the last year, and I spent $2,200 just on our Monday night meetings. $2,200 I spent for you. So, you know, we've got to figure out a way to cough up $10 or $20 or $30 and know that it's coming back to you tenfold if you can just get people in the room. So again, this wasn't intended just to talk about, you know, the push to get people in the room. It was really intended to get people that wanted to hear more about how you invite. I've given you a couple of tips on that, you know, framing that. But I see some of you on the phone. I don't see your hand raised to ask any questions or make any comments. So if there's nothing else anybody wants to share, this is the last call, as they would say. I see Pat Charles' hand raised. Let me see if I can actually hear you, Pat. Nope. You got to go back to the drawing board, girl. I want you to be in the room with somebody next week so you can actually get online. I know every week Pat says, I wanted to say something. I had something to say. Anybody else? Last call before we close it out. And again, I feel bad for the people that actually expressed wanting to get more detail of what to say. And I was hoping they'd vent a little bit on what's not working for them, but they're not stepping up on this call. So we'll just take it outside the call. Well, on that note, guys, thanks for being here. You know, this is a great team call. I'm enjoying it. I think that, again, I would like to see it promoted out there. I don't mean to be a thorn in your flesh, but, you know, I can tell I'm on most of your distribution lists, and if I don't see something promoted, if I don't get an email on it, I know nobody else is getting an email on it either. So would like to think that you could encourage people. You know, we can change the format of this team call any way we want to. It's our call, and it's something that's a real blessing out there. You know, so get out there, invite your people. Doesn't matter where in the world they are. Don't, again, when you want to create urgency, you don't want to say, don't worry, I'll send you the recording. That's not the case. It's get people to show up and you know, be there, right? And so feel free to send out the invite for this team call. Hopefully we'll continue on forward with it, and then hopefully it'll be a blessing to everybody. And so good luck to you guys on tomorrow night, actually, in Vienna. I have put out some notices to that, trying to get some people. I do know some people in that area, so I've been trying to push it. I cannot attend myself, but I'm doing my best to try to get some people in that room as well. So guys, make it a great day. I'll see you next time, and if you have any questions or comments about how to invite, I guess we'll take it up after this call. In the meantime, just see you next week. Take care. Bye-bye.
Hi, Lynn. Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Thanks, Lynn.
You're welcome. Thank you.